Hello and good morning, good evening, everybody. Another live chat here, from the house in France. Hope everybody's doing really well. So today, what I'm going to be doing is answering your questions like the last live chat. I did get a lot of messages from you guys saying that you missed the last one. So what I've done it now a bit later. So for the viewers in the US, it's not so early in the morning. So guys, if you have any questions, do fire away. And while I'm waiting for questions to come in, be sure to show your support by asking your questions on the super chat, because then you'll get a guaranteed answer. And do check out the merchandise. So who do we have here? We got Jeff Green. He said drum roll. Nate Peterson. Hello everyone. Damo Safford has said good afternoon. Tristan, good afternoon. Matthew Orr has said hi all. Tyler, hi from Ohio. Hey Tyler. The radio guy Jay. Hi Captain. Hello radio guy Jay. Bimmer Giza. Hello Giza. Hi Tristan, great to see you. Thomas Artois, what's the longest you have been on anchor more than 1 week? To be honest with you, the vessels that actually stay at anchor tend to be like the mega yachts and the giga yachts, because vessels our size and get into most ports. And with charter guests, they want to get off and walk around the towns like, Portofino, Saint-Tropez, Bonifacio, which are great places to go and visit. So for us, I think it's been a few days maybe when we're in Croatia. Hi, there's Workshop. Hi, Tristan. Love your channel. Thank you. Hi, Captain from Bristol. That's from Simon Robertson. Hello, Simon. Radio guy is Jason from Minnesota. Matthew. Hi from the south of Wales in the UK. Hey, Matthew. RS8342. Have you ever been to Australia? I've never been to Australia. Dirk Borman. Hi, Tristan. Damon Safford. Good evening, viewers. Andrew Peacock. Andrew's back. Here's the last live chat. Hello, Andrew. Phil Riddles. Hey, Tristan. Ontario, Canada. My eldest brother lives in Canada. He's in Calgary in Alberta. Jerry. Is that Jerry Byrne or Bine? Bine? Is that an M or an RN? Can't really see. All right, mate. All right, mate. You sound actually like my stepbrother Ed. He's always like, all right, mate. So some questions now. You all seem to work well as a team, and I admire that. But how do you deal with staff discipline if needed? That's from Mick Charity. It's a good question, actually, Mick. The reality is, before the crew member joins the vessel, they have to read the codes of conduct. They have to sign it, and they have to sign every single page. And the discipline is clearly written out. The disciplines include they may be on what we call the next weekend watch. So whilst we don't have guests on board, we tend to work Monday to Friday, 5 to 8. But for security and safety reasons, there is always a person on watch over the weekend, and there's always somebody on board 24/7. That person is called a person on watch. As a discipline, if somebody is late to work or whatever it might be, they will automatically get the next weekend watch. If they already are on the list to be on that watch, they'll get the following weekend as well, and that's how we discipline them. And if it continues, then they get a verbal warning, and then obviously a written warning, and then they get asked to leave. Hello Tristan, did you have a small model of AWOL like a 1/16th scale? I don't, but the owner of the boat does. He actually acquired it recently through... It's a really bizarre story. He got it from one of his employees who found it at a broker's office in London, believe it or not. Have you ever had any interactions with Navy ships? I'm in the US Navy, and we have interacted with some yachts when in the bay, and sometimes they are a bit salty. I'm trying to think. I think remember one time I was coming out of Gibraltar and the Ark Royal was coming in. And the Ark Royal was the UK's, at the time, it was the UK's largest naval ship. It was an aircraft carrier. And ahead of them, they had a bunch of like tenders and smaller boats telling all the other boats to get out of the way. So that was interesting. That's the most communication I've had with the Navy. Yeah, that was it really. What was the Kevin got a fireplace? Right, next question we got here. Going down a bit. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Oh, we got a super chat here from John. John, thank you very much. Do you search charter guest luggage for contraband, drugs, weapons, etc.? So actually, John, that is a very good question. So what happens before any guests come on board? They have to sign a charter contract, and it clearly stipulates that they're not allowed to bring any illegal substances or firearms or anything that can jeopardize the safety of the vessel on board, on board the yacht. So what we do, what the stewardesses do, we have a service where we will unload their luggage and put it all away. And by doing that, we can make sure they're not bringing anything on board. If guests are going to bring certain substances on board, they might hide in their pockets. We can't check everything, but we are quite strict. And if we see anything, we're in our rights to cancel the charter immediately and phone the police. So thanks for your question, John. Guys, if you want your questions guaranteed answer, please ask the question in the super chat. Much appreciated. Good question. Have you ever had a medical emergency on board? So knock on wood, to date we've had nothing, I wouldn't say a medical emergencies. We've had a few scrapes and bruises, but nothing that required major hospitalization. The most biggest thing I think was my stewardess. She had cut her leg on some glass and required like 5 or 6 stitches, but that was the worst of it. I've obviously heard of some terrible stories. We're very fortunate, again, knock on wood, that we haven't had any major incidences or medical emergencies on board. Voodoo Media, wow, has your cabin got a fireplace? It hasn't got a fireplace, no. Be interesting to put a fireplace on a fiberglass super yacht, see how it handles. I'm sure it'll go up in flames in seconds. No, does our yacht have a fireplace? The question was in my cabin. The answer is no. Sorry, guys, that's just the missus in the background interfering. She's going to join us shortly anyway. So if you have any questions for Jiv, who is the chief steward on board, please start firing away. And just remember, on the super chat, you get a guaranteed answer. And here another super chat. We got the Bimmer Geezer. Hello, Geezer. What was the worst weather you have had to sail in with your guests? So that's a good question. So years ago, in 2008, that season, we got delivery of Motor Yacht Lizzie, which is a Lazara 75 NSX. So Lazara at the time were built in Tampa, Florida. And we needed to get the boat from the south of Spain, from Marbella in the south of Spain, and bring it to Cannes in the south of France. We had the owner on board, and the weather forecast was horrendous. And I kept saying to the owner, it's very dangerous to go, let's not do it. And at the end of the day, it's the captain's responsibility and he has the overriding authority. But I had recently started working for the owner, and it's good to say to an owner no, and if they keep persisting, is to take them out. As long as you think it's safe to do so, take them out and scare them, because next time they will trust your word. So we were out in a following sea. It was a force 9, and it was miserable. We were coming, over the crest of the wave. We were coming up, going down to like 6-7 knots, and then coming down the wave, reaching over 30 knots. That was interesting. We're out there for like 10-12 hours. So now whenever I say to it's going to be bad weather, he never questions it. He goes, okay, we're staying in port today. Put my glass back on. I need to read these questions, guys. Couple more questions. When do you service anchor? What type do you use? I'm guessing. Do you mean the anchor windlass? So the anchor drum. So we've just had our service. The engineer does it, every year because there's obviously the oil and the grease that needs to be changed. And in this year, actually, we're actually changing what we call the chain gypsy. So the gypsy is the part that goes around the winch that then locks onto all the links of the chain, which brings it into the anchor locker. And we have the anchor chain painted every single winter, so every season. And we paint it every shackle. Now, a shackle is just over 27 meters, 27.3 actually. Wesley from South Africa, love your channel here from South Africa. Cheers, Wesley. Stretton has asked, how many months in a year are you at home? The truth is, this is the most time I've ever spent at the house while we're actually in France. I actually live in the UK. But very, very little time. We spend, honestly, on a normal year without the whole, COVID-19 thing, I would say between 6 and 8 weeks a year that we spend at home. The rest of the time we're on board or we're in the crew apartment where the boat might be. Have you ever responded to a mayday call or likewise made your own mayday call? So a mayday means that you or the vessel is in grave and imminent danger. I've never done a mayday, but we did a pan once. We were on Motor Yacht Lizzie, the Lazara 75, and we just recently taken delivery in the last few months, and we had then left Cannes and heading back to Spain, and we were heading to Barcelona, and I was cruising, and we were coming into the Barcelona shipping lane, and as you were entering close to the port and close to the shipping lane, we start reducing the speed. Now on this particular vessel, the fuel tank is very kind of like shallow, but it's very long. And the fuel outlet, so where the engines get their fuel supply from, is at the back of the tank. So while we're cruising, the vessel's planing and the nose is obviously up a bit, right? And I was keeping an eye on the fuel gauge, and the fuel gauge is also at the back of the tank. So this is actually a design fault. And as I reduced the speed, the bow then started coming down. All the fuel went then forward, and all of a sudden my fuel gauge read 0. And what happened, all the 4 engines then cut out, the generator cut out in the middle of the Barcelona shipping lane, right? In the middle of the night. So I did a pan. We had to call out a rescue boat that came within, I think, about an hour. They arrived to us, and then they towed us into port. So Nico Hobbs is also, guys, just do check out the super chat. Nico, thank you very much. Nico, you have a question, let me know. Buayo has asked, hi Tristan, I want to transition from aviation to the nautical field. Any tips on where to start? The reality is, if you have no nautical background, you need to start from the bottom. Anybody that's coming in, you will need to start from the deck if you want to start as a deckhand or a stew and then work your way up. The benefit that you will have, so the first tickets you'll probably do is powerboat level 2 or yacht master, is with your navigation experience and knowledge that will help you, but you won't really have any benefit unless you're looking, if you're a helicopter pilot, there are lots of super yachts out there that have helicopters that do need pilots on board. So that could be an option for you. Just remember, guys, before I forget, for those who don't know, we're offering you the opportunity to win a week's vacation on board Motor Yacht AWOL with you and 5 of your guests, so 6 people in total, right? All your flights are covered from your local international airport. All the costs are covered on board. And all you have to do is make sure you have the correct visa to travel to Europe and you've got your passports. And all you have to do is check the link in the description, the raffle link, follow the instructions, and then buy your ticket. They're £15, which is roughly 20 US dollars. And if you buy 10 tickets, you have a 1 in 4,000 chance of winning. And it's the dream vacation of a lifetime. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet, go and check it out and get your tickets. Okay, next question we've got here is from Nico. Hey Nico, Hobbs, thank again for the super chat. What do customs include when going to different countries in the Med? So Nico, it's a good question. So general where we are, we're like Western Med, so we're European Union. So we don't get really boarded by customs whatsoever, to be honest with you. The only time that we do is when we go into Montenegro and into Croatia. And basically what they want to see, they require to see just all our passports, the crew list, the guest list, and the guest passports, and then the boat papers. So we need to give them, I need to give them my license. They need the certificate of registry and the insurance, and that's about it. When we go into Montenegro, it takes, depending on how busy the customs key is, but normally around 20 to 30 minutes. So it's not a big deal at all. Mark Winter, do you ever get seasick? Mark, that's a very good question. The truth, the answer is yes, I do. The first 2-3 days of the season, so when we put AWOL ready again for the season, when I get seasick, I get a kind of a bit off balance and I feel a bit queasy, but not to the point of, being unable to do my job. But after 2 or 3 days at sea, it completely goes and I get my sea legs again. And I've been doing this for 17, 18 years, and every single year it's the same thing. I need to find my sea legs, but good question. Got another super chat here from Harold. Harold, thank you very much. Harold, if you have a question, please do post it. Remember, guys, if you want a guaranteed answer, do check out the super chat. We really appreciate your support. Adam Gorey, that's a good question, Adam. Advice for moving over from cruise ships to yachts with OOW Unlimited. Now, Adam, you've got a bit of a golden ticket here because you have the ability to be an officer on vessels greater than 3,000 gross tons, where I'm limited to 3,000 gross tons. The best thing to do, Adam, is to join all the yacht crew agencies and to go onto the yachting Facebook and social media groups. So like we've got things like on TB Yacht Crew, Palmer Yacht Crew, Fort Lauderdale Yacht Crew, and just ask people, if anybody's looking for an OOW Unlimited, put your CV out there. And that's what we can do, to be honest. Have you ever done any sailing before? That's from RS8342. I got an interesting story with a Hobie cat. So some of you may or may not remember in 2007 we had a fire on board the boat I was running, which resulted in a total loss of the boat. So the owner had no boat for a period of time until he got the insurance paid out. So what he decided to do in the meantime was to buy a small little, what we call a Sea Ray. It's a Sea Ray 270, fantastic boat, bow rider, and a Hobie cat. And now both the boss and I had no sailing experience, but coming from a boating background, I understood the theory of it, and I believe I could put the theory into practice, which we did. We got the Hobie cat. The guy that sold it to us gave us an understanding of how to rig it, what everything does, and it made perfect sense to me. Now one day we decided to take. Well, we were sitting actually at a beach bar in the south of Spain, and it was blowing like 20-25 knots of wind. And bear in mind, we've had very, very little time on the Hobie cat. I would say at this point maybe an hour of Hobie cat experience. And we look at each other and we're like, I'm not sure. And then eventually we look at each other, the boss and I, like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So we took this Hobie cat out, and then as soon as we taught the sail, we were just gone. We were flying out to sea. And then what happened, we had to obviously turn around. As we turned around, the wind caught us and we capsized. Now, at this time, it was so windy, there's so many kite surfers around. We kind of worked out what we had to do, put the sail kind of the wind and then right it. But when we put it upright, we hadn't loosened the sails, and sorry guys, 1 second. We hadn't loosened the sails, and so we hadn't loosened the sails. So as we got it upright, the Hobie cat went flying, and the boss said to me, "Whatever you do, don't let go." And I managed to pull myself up, and as I look around, I see the boss, and he's holding on to the keel like this, getting dragged along the water. So I grab the back of his buoyancy aid, pull him on board, and we're like, right, let's just head back to shore. So we are gunning it. It felt really fast. We're probably only doing like 10, 12 knots. And we were flying towards the beach. Bear in mind, this is the middle of summer, and there's lots of people on the beach, and we find a gap where there's no people. And we hit the beach, and fly straight into the beach. And we hit the beach. The Hobie cat capsized again. The boss went flying. I went flying over the boss onto the beach. We're both just, in hysterics, high-fiving. So that was my sailing experience. So you don't want to hire me as your sailing boat captain. That's for sure. So Harold has asked. So Harold, thank you for your super chat. So guys, if you're doing super chat, be sure to ask your questions on the super chat and not on the regular chat. That'd be fantastic. Do you use open commercial UHF channels or dedicated internal communications? If dedicated, with licenses in different countries. So no, we don't actually. We just use your standard Icon UHF radios. Unfortunately, in some cases, when we do go into certain ports, we get quite a bit of interference. And then within the comms on board, we have VHF, MFHF. We have what else? We have Inmarsat C, Navtex. And then we have our 2 yellow emergency VHFs in case we need to abandon ship. So Harold, thank you very much for your question there. Alexandros, thank you very much for your super chat. So Alexandros, you've got a question, do let us know. So yes, it's great. Michael has asked, do I know when the season starts? At the moment, Michael, the way the world is, nobody knows when the season started. So we're just basically taking it day by day. So yeah. And maybe, does the Jibinator want to come in? Come on in. Right, guys, we're going to be joined by the Jibinator, the chief stew on board. So do have your questions. If you want a guaranteed answer from the Jibinator, do check out the super chat. There's a question: how to become a chef from a restaurant to sea. So all crew on board must have what's called the STCW 2010 Basic Safety Training, and it takes about a week to do. You have to do that. You have to have your ENG1, which is your medical certificate. And then from there, if I was you, I would apply to all the yacht agencies online and check out all the Facebook yacht groups. That's my advice to you. And now here we have the Jibinator. Jibinator, welcome to the live stream.
Yeah.
So guys, if you've got any questions for Jiv, who is the chief stew on board, then Mick has asked how much for the Wi-Fi.
Oh, well, that's a good start.
How much do you reckon you're worth? James Eglinton.
Hey,
James.
Hey,
James.
Hey, James.
So for those you don't know, James Eglinton has been working for the channel for some time now. He does all the behind-the-scenes stuff, so give him some support. So guys, any questions for the Jibinator, do let us know, especially in the super chat. Much appreciated. Simon Robinson is, where's your alcoholics mug? Simon, it hasn't arrived yet, Simon. You know, I'm still using the. I think it's rubbed off now. I had alcoholic written down, but it's all gone now.
We're gonna have to get a full set though, because we can't just have one. It needs to be symmetrical.
It needs to be symmetrical. Yeah. I was getting alcoholics mug and a yachts for sale mug. I'm not sure Jared Watney does any merchandise with mugs yet. How much does a second officer make on yachts? George, it really depends on the size of the yacht, depends on your experience and your qualifications. Hi Tristan and Jiv, how are you both going? Hi from Melbourne, Australia. So Jiv, how are you going?
By plane mostly.
Yeah.
Not,
how are you
not
getting
lately.
on though?
Great.
Australia, so how's it going? You know?
Well, Australia, I'd love to go to Australia. I'd love to be going to Australia by plane.
Okay.
That would be good.
How are you finding though the isolation, being stuck with the super yacht captain? You must be in heaven, right?
It's tough. I mean, the paparazzi and that. I mean, we just need our privacy, really. Luckily, they're keeping within their distance. What's it, 2 meters now?
Well, this is not 2 meters, is it?
No, it isn't. Should I put my mask on?
Yeah, I think you're gonna need to. When's the big wedding? Weddings
here we go.
Weddings in December.
We've decided
you gotta show off the engagement ring. Come on.
We've decided to elope.
Bling bling. Look at that rock, eh? Hello to you from Coventry. You guys are amazing. Love what you do. Wish you all the best during these nasty times. How much does it cost to run a yacht of the size you run? So, Alec, it's a very good question, but it depends on how the owner wants the yacht run. It can be anywhere from 700,000 euros a year to about 1.2 million euros a year. And it really does vary on the crew, because some boats like keeping the crew full time. Other boats go into what we call a skeleton crew in the off season, so it really does vary. Okay, you talk about the environment in your videos, good job, but is there no eco-fuel in the Mediterranean? So the sulfur levels here in the Med have changed. They're down now to 0.1%, I think it was 0.2%. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's a lot more eco, but not only that, that's a good question. How, from a chief stew point of view, what differences have you made on board to become, because a lot of people are going to criticize this. Oh, you work on a super yacht, how can you be eco-friendly? Mm-hmm. What we do as crew, we do what we can. So explain to the viewers what you've done, that you've learned over the years to make us as eco-friendly as possible.
Well, to be honest, the first boat I worked on, I wasn't really I didn't realize how easy it was to be eco-friendly actually, and how good the alternatives were in it. So now, I mean, every year I try and make a small difference, even if it's a change. Like now, the uniform I'm ordering, I'd like to try 100% organic or hemp or something like that. So also, it's a bit drastic, especially from the boss's approach. He's a businessman. For me to come in and just say, okay, we're going full organic, throw everything out, which is actually not very eco-friendly at all. So by making the changes to, little changes here and there is actually more of a sustainable way to do it, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So like we've got eco toiletries for the guests and crew. We're kind of starting to do eco uniform. The guests, like the kikois, the towels that we use, they're not as heavy, they're quicker to wash. We use eco products, like the laundry is very eco.
Yeah.
So there's 1 or 2 products that's been hard to let go of, but we found alternatives, so we kind of bounced between the two. I won't lie, we're not 100% eco-friendly, but we're eco-conscious. I like to say that we're
eco-conscious.
Yeah.
What would you say is for people out there who want to become a chief stew or stewardess? What advice would you give them? And again, what is the hardest thing about your job, would you say?
In an eco-friendly
No,
sense,
just completely change. So you as a stewardess, what advice would you give somebody that wants to become a chief stew? And what is the hardest thing you would say about the job?
So I think have confidence in yourself, because that was the scariest part for me in stepping up or getting outside your comfort zone. But just having more confidence, and like the first day you went to school as a child, you were terrified and you were scared.
Yeah, I was.
And yeah, but looking back, you're like, oh, actually, I made friends. I learned new stuff. And it doesn't seem that bad when you look back on it. So if you kind of approach it, it's good to be nervous. It's also good to be open-minded and take advice from people, but also, like you can make it. There's not like a set way to be a chief stewardess, I think, or any position on board really. Like you've got to be adaptable. You've got to be open-minded. Don't be closed-minded. I guess that would be the best. And the second part of the question
is what's the hardest thing about being a chief stew? What's the most difficult thing you got to deal with?
Probably the hours. It's tough. Yeah, I think it's tough because because it's exhausting. Like you're happy to do it, but keeping happy and like bubbly and friendly when you've had minimum sleep that can be tough, and that's where it's important.
And day in and day out as well. I'm always like keeping that
August
face.
is like the crazy month. Like you find our chef like couldn't find his radio one day, and he's looking around, and we're calling the radio like, where's the radio? It was in the fridge. Like he put his radio in the fridge, so we're like, it's August. So everyone knows like you've got an excuse to be a little bit
crazy.
Yeah. Like if you've got radios in the fridge or the tumble dryer or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So Jared Watney has just joined us. Jared, welcome. Guys, if you don't follow, well, I'm sure you guys that are following, my channel, you're following Jared. If you don't, check out Jared Watney. His videography and his content is simply amazing. He sets the standards. He makes me look pretty bad, actually. So Jared, welcome. And if you missed it, I just did a live stream with Jared on Instagram before we did this live stream. But we're planning on doing it again in the future. And maybe we'll do actually a planned one so all you guys can put it into your diaries. Bimmer Geezer has just donated $25 for our wedding. That's super kind. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I don't know what to say. I'm just humbled by it. Thank you very much. And just to say, guys, if you want your question guaranteed answer, do check in the super chat. So Jared has now just left the chat. So I give him some free advertising on his channel, and then he just disappears.
I realise how bad my eyesight is, actually.
I gotta wear the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say then, Jibinator, the little question that we've been getting as a couple, what advice would you give to couples that are working on or looking to work on yachts? What's the hardest thing? And obviously you're working with me, so that's the best thing. But what's the pros and cons of working? What's the pros and cons of working as a couple on board?
Something when I learned it helped me a lot I think it made it a lot better for us, is not to take things personally. Like sometimes even like if I was having a bad day or you were having a bad day and one of us might like be a bit snappy, or especially as a couple, you know each other so well. So another crew member might not see it as snappy, but you would because you know each other so well. And just realizing that it's nothing personal. Do you know what I mean? Like give them space, and that's how our relationship works. Like if we want to talk about it, we will never in a heated situation. So I think that was kind of a hard lesson I learned when we started working together. But once I understood that, kind of a psychology behind it, I guess. Once I understood that, I think it made it a lot better for us.
Yeah, it did.
And we just work well together.
We're quite lucky, because we do actually get on really well.
We tease each other a lot, which is really nice.
But what she means by that is she teases me all the time. When she says we tease each other a lot, it's not. She's just giving me a hard time all the time.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
Well, good banter.
Yeah. Anyway, so John, thank you, John, for the super chat. That's very kind of you. How will you reassure charter guests that the crew isn't affected with coronavirus going into this year's season? And will you test charter guests for COVID-19? The truth is, John, at this stage, we don't know what's happening. We don't have a season at the moment. So once we know what the plan is for the season, with our safety management company, we will work with them and implement a system in order to reassure the clients and the crew. But at this stage, it's so difficult to say. There are yachts that are doing, a few tests, but it is difficult to say because not everybody, as you may know, have the same symptoms because it seems like the virus is mutating a little bit. But we're all reading different things. So at the moment, we're just standing off and we are waiting to get advice, mostly from the IMO, which is the International Maritime Organization, and from news outlets.
It's quite interesting because if I'm correct, I think it takes a few weeks or at least a few days before you can get the results back on a test. So
Yeah.
it's quite an interesting question that I guess the yachting industry, but many industries will be faced with is how, because also what about us crew? Like we're isolated on board in the season anyway. So
Yeah.
it's actually, in a sense, we're kind of...
We've got less chance of having it.
Yeah, well, potentially. I mean, we're as much, they might be guests traveling to us. So we could be affected as well, So that would be kind of it's an interesting, I guess that's going to be a discussion coming up in the industry quite soon.
Yeah. So, guys, my mother has just joined. Hi, Mum. To Jiv, what do you do if a guest shows unwanted interest?
Oh, I mean, yeah, sorry.
It depends on the guest, right? No.
Oh, I don't. That is a... Thanks, Jenny. Put me on the spot. I don't know. I don't think we've ever really been... If you mean like if they make a pass for you, I don't think... I've never really... I have had somebody do that years ago, and it was an awkward situation because it shouldn't have been my responsibility in that kind of situation to stand up.
Yeah.
But I was ready to walk off the boat because I was not happy with that situation. And I think that kind of, it was an immediate, a clear message, and it just never happened again after that, I think. I think it's also important because, like, sometimes guests might drink and they might be a bit funny in front of their friends, whatever, is just to make it quite clear and walk away if you have to. I don't know. I would probably, if it did get to a situation, I would come to you.
Yeah.
As the captain, as my partner, but as the captain as well, to kind of...
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that kind of attention, especially if they knew that we were a couple. It would be...
Yeah, it'd be quite awkward, wouldn't it?
But it is an interesting question because what if there was a stewardess who was quite keen on a guest and they were quite keen, and then it's kind of a mutual thing? I don't know.
Then you got to be watching Below Deck.
Then that's how you don't react.
Yeah. So Harold has asked, sorry guys, 1 second. He's asked, I have a small sail yacht service in Sweden with my 18-meter sailboat. As a captain with your international experience, what would your advice for growth be? International guests marked. Sorry, let me read that question again, guys. I have my small sail yacht service in Sweden with my 18-meter. As a captain with your international experience, what would you advise for growth to international guests?
What would you advise?
I don't really answer. I don't know if you want to read that. Sorry, Harold, I don't really understand the question, but Jill's going to read it because she's smarter than I am. David Dillon has asked, how do crew deal with guests with special needs? Have you ever ran into this? Being guests in wheelchairs or limited mobility due to illnesses like Parkinson's. So, beforehand, what will happen is, we will understand what the special needs are of the guests. And you got to understand that we are a boat, and, with people with special needs, especially, it can be very dangerous. So we have to do a risk assessment and work out, is it safe for that person to be on board? Because at the end of the day, safety is our number one priority. If we feel that we can accommodate them and the crew feel comfortable and I feel comfortable doing it, and the management company and the charter broker, then we will do it. But it's not recommended, because if you've got people with difficulties, the boat's always moving and they can fall over and they can hurt themselves. So we don't want to restrict them, but we need to manage expectations. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you add anything onto that? People with
sorry, I was reading that. So really
people with disabilities on board, how we deal with it?
Yeah, well, we've had very old people on board, which has been tricky because we've got 3 levels of stairs for them to walk up.
Yeah.
It's, I guess, some boats, I mean, they have disabled owners and they actually get lift systems put into their boats. It can be tricky. Obviously, you've got to be extra careful. Also, we've got a very good stabilizer system, so we never go out in conditions that are that are bad with guests. But it is a concern, and you would normally have one of the deck team or crew always kind of close to that person. Well, with the elderly, that's kind of how we handled it. Is always being there to assist, or if they need something from the cabins, then we're kind of their legs around the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you understand? I'll go back to Harold's question. So basically, he's asking about a charter business. So Harold, what I suggest with any successful charter, you need to have a good charter agent. In our case, we work with a company that I've worked with now for the last 11 years called IYC in Monaco, and they bring us the clients. They broker all the deals, and that's been the first step to a successful charter yacht. After then, it's always about the crew, because what the guests remember is the service and the crew. They bring the energy and the soul to the boat. So you got to make sure you have good crew on board. And I would say probably, finally, it depends where you are and where you're marketing the boat, because obviously in the Med, there's a very high demand. I'm not sure what the demand would be in Sweden. So I hope that answers your question. And then we've got Jared is back. Welcome back, Jared. Guys, again, if you don't follow Jared Watney's channel, be sure to check him out. I think David Seal is with us as well. David Seal.
Oh, the whole gang's
The whole gang's here. Yachts for Sale. Go and check them out. Jared's asked, does the owner have plans for a new boat? Good question, Jared. The reality is AWOL is for sale. And as you know, until AWOL is sold, the new boat won't come along. But what has been discussed is if AWOL does sell, potentially around a 50-meter, more closely probably an expedition type vessel. But until AWOL is sold, we remain with AWOL.
That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. David Seal, where's Yachts for Sale gone? David, if you're watching, there he is. So David Seal, as this wrote, I'm only here for the free advertising too. David's here for the free advertising. So, but anyway.
One guy said you inspired him to become a deckhand, which I think is quite cool.
Where's that?
Sorry, that one. Christopherson? Yeah, that one.
George?
Hi,
Captain. To Christopherson. Hi, Captain. Thanks for inspiring me to start as a deckhand. Love your vlogs. That's what the channel's all about. I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you very much. Don't give up. David Seal just said, can I go now? Well, David, does anybody have any questions for David Seal? Now he's here. He's getting his free marketing.
It's good, David. I'm getting good marketing here as well.
Okay, we've got a super chat here from Per Greff. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for your super chat. Did you see the MB and T review? Motorboats and motorboat. I'm guessing you mean MB and Y. Motorboats and yachting review on Nimbus T11 yesterday, and if yes, what's your thoughts compared to the rival Axopar? So the truth is, I've not been on board the Nimbus T11 or T11. I don't like to give my opinion until I physically have been on board and tested it. But as a lot of you know, I'm a massive fan of Axopar. As a lot of you know, if I was in a position to buy a boat of that caliber, at the moment, it would definitely be an Axopar 37. We do have an Axopar as our chase boat. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I do know the new models are a lot more efficient. So, and you love the Axopar as well, don't you, Renata?
Yeah.
It's your favourite.
Well, from an aesthetic point of view, it's stunning.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
It handles the sea well. It's just been such an asset.
Yeah, I've been, I think maybe 37 knots. What does it do in total? Is that possible?
We got it up to, what did we do? We did with Harry like 49, 50 knots.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think we did about 37. Harry took me. And it felt so, like when he told me 37, I was like, what? That's insane, because it felt so comfortable. Like you were just gliding over the water. And then when you look at the land or something, you actually realize how fast you're going.
Yeah.
You're like, wow,
it's so
amazing.
cool.
And comfortable as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. It's such a great boat. But anyway, if anybody wants to let me test out a Nimbus, I'll be happy to. It's a very cheap fee as well, guys. So, guys, any questions for Jibinator, please? Oh, David Seal, there's a question for you. David is still watching. This is from David Dillon. He's saying, David, any chance of doing a walkthrough of Quantum of Solace? Which I believe, David, the yacht guy, has done a walkthrough on that boat. So you might want to check out his video. That's Alex Jimenez, the yacht guy. So go and check him out. Star Water said a 50-meter expedition would be really exciting.
Where would you go first?
I want to go to Norway. I want to go to the fjords of Norway.
Okay.
Yeah. Where would you go?
Somewhere really warm and tropical.
Or like Bali or
Bali,
something.
yeah.
Indonesia.
I'd probably, no, actually, in all honesty, but Raja Ampat is like really kind of off the grid. I'm not sure if a motor yacht would be able to get there. Maybe that's more sailing where you don't really need to refuel, and it's maybe not really a guest place with provisions and stuff like that. But definitely, Asia. I love Asia.
Sailing around Asia, yeah. So guys, let us know if you could go anywhere in the world on a super yacht, where would you go? If you had 1 week, or where would you go? So Jared's just written again, Jared Watney again. If you don't follow Jared, be sure to follow his YouTube channel and Instagram. He's very busy on Instagram. I'm not that good on Instagram, but Jared's very good. So he's off to edit cruise story video. All the best. So Jared is going to do a cruise story for us. So thank you, Jared. Thank you for that 9 minutes and 59 seconds. So David from Yachts for Sale has responded to the other David, I think it was. I'd love to do a walkthrough of Quantum of Solace, but it's a central agency of a competing brokerage. Really special yacht though, and Alex did a great job of the walkthrough. So there's your answer. He can't do walkthroughs of competing boats. Gibbs, welcome back. Gib, thank you for the super chat. Hey Tristan, now that you're caught by a wonderful woman and have agreed to enter into bondage, lol, when can we expect a mini you? You can answer that question about the mini you.
And I guess it's a good time to announce twins.
So guys, yeah, we're expecting triplets.
Well,
No, just kidding.
Oh, I mean, I want to have a bit of sleep after my yachting career before that happens.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's either yachting or that life for me. For you, at least you can. I mean, not that it's a male-female thing, but yeah, it's definitely one or the other. So it's a hard decision to make.
Yeah.
Because there's two lives that I love, one that we would like to have, but I love my team on AWOL. I love AWOL, the travels, and so it's tough to make that decision. But
it's a conversation that we've had quite a fair bit, isn't it? You know, we've been together. Some of you may know since 2011, 12, 2011. So it'll be 9 years this year. And you know, we're at the point now that I think we want to start our own family, but it's a very big sacrifice for Jiv because she will have to finish her time on board most of your AWOL for obvious reasons. But we'll see. We got to. She's got to say "I do" first when she gets down the aisle, and so do I. So.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Yeah. So anyway. Right, a few more questions here. Neil has asked, have you crossed the Atlantic in AWOL? No, Neil, we haven't. We wouldn't cross the Atlantic on AWOL. We would put it on a thing called Dockwise. It's a big ship that specializes in carrying, you know, yachts and sailing vessels as well. Omer Lavoric. Omer, hello, Captain. Big greetings from Sailing Yacht Black Pearl. Hello, Omer. I wonder, is your chef still Richard? Because I met Richard at the chef competition last year in Monaco. Really nice guy. If Richard is still there, make sure you send him my regards and that I say hello. Did you meet Richard? You didn't meet Richard?
No, it was you did the chef competition in Monaco. No?
That's right. Yeah. Harold is back. Hello, Harold. Thank you again for the super chat. As normal, no relationships for crew. How and why can you handle it? So on board, no, we have crew that are in relationships. We accept people in relationships. We handle it. There's good days and bad days, but in general, the crew we've had has been overall it's been quite good, right?
Well, we've never had really disputes amongst couples. I think it's quite clear from the beginning as well that won't really be tolerated. Like not even between us. We will never have an argument
in front of the crew.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that there's a huge amount of space to go hide and have an argument, but you just, I don't know, we've just never had. Maybe because overall we've got quite a good vibe and things like get resolved quickly, or we move on from it quickly, or I don't know, it's just never, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
Hopefully never, touch wood.
Yeah, it's what I found though with the younger like single crew, any opportunity they want to get off and chase tail, so to speak, or with couples there's a lot more. It's not so intense, a lot more relaxed, isn't it? In a way, not always seeking to go out and in the guys' point of view, maybe chase the girl, the girls chasing the guys, whatever it is. And the crew, the staff that we've hired, the couples that we've hired have been couples for quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
And so they some of them
3-4 years minimum.
Yeah. So no problem for us for the couples. We actually, in a sense, we need it because of the cabin arrangements.
I guess also because just as much as you find the right people for the boat, you also find the right boat for the people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like the crew that are looking for like parties and like a lot of single people who want to party on between on your breaks or whatever, we're just not that boat. We're the kind of boat that would probably have a dinner all together, or maybe not, but it's chilled. You might go for a walk or a hike or a swim or have a few drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's quite a bit, we're older.
A bit older, a bit more boring. Yeah.
Maybe we need to go out partying a bit more.
Jorge Santos. Jorge, I'm guessing in Espanol. Hey from Denmark. You have a great channel. It's really amazing. Thank you, Jorge. It's a very Spanish name. Can crew invite guests back? So the crew will need to ask my permission to bring people back, but nobody can stay or sleep on board. And they can have a view, a tour around the boat, but that's pretty much
not
it.
With guests on.
But not with charter guests on board, only when the boat's off charter. So remember, guys, if you want a guaranteed answer to your question, please check out the super chat. And while we're talking about helping us out, do check out the merchandise that we have available. Go in the description and check out the merchandise that we have. T-shirts, hoodies, caps, mugs that say Super Yacht Captain on them, not this one in particular. So really appreciate it. And again, do check out the competition that we have open. You could be in the chance of winning a week's vacation, all inclusive, flights included, you and 5 of your guests, so 6 people in total, on board Motor Yacht AWOL for a week. All costs are paid for. All you got to do is check out the raffle link in the description. You got to follow the instructions, and the tickets cost £15, which is around $20 US. If you buy 10 tickets, you got a 1 in 4,000 chance of winning. So it's a win-win. So go and get your tickets.
I have a question. Can crew enter?
Problem is, if you enter and you win, it's going to look very suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
also,
just so you know, it's the whole competition is done through an official third-party United Kingdom company. We don't decide the winner. It's all official. But if we enter and by chance, if we win, it's going to look very suspicious.
Like if you won, who would drive the boat? So it'd be a bit awkward, wouldn't it?
No, I'll just give the whole crew a week off in the middle of the season. It'd be amazing.
Can we get a tip though?
I'll give you my tip. Just kidding. Let's add a. Insert it. Right, guys.
There was someone from California. Where is it? There we go. Robert B. from California.
Just 1 second. So David Seal's leaving us now. Thanks, David. Have to go. Enjoy the rest of the live stream. Cheers, David. All the best. This one.
Robert B.
Robert B. Hello from Southern California. Hey, Robert.
Ooh.
How do you deal with drunk, wild, naked party guests? Like the video of the jumping off the boat. We join them. We all get wild and drunk together.
We're just those kind of
No,
people.
we don't. You know, we understand that guests want to have a good time. We try to manage it, make sure they keep as safe as possible, and we keep an eye on them. And in some cases, we've got to put our foot down a little bit and say, right, guys, we're getting a bit out of control here. Kind of mature a little bit. But you've got to find a balance. At the end of the day, we understand people on holiday want to have a few drinks, have a party. We understand that.
I think the kind of borderline, because obviously for myself being on night shift and kind of dealing with the guests in that situation, you, like you say, you find the balance between letting them have a good time, but then as soon as it starts jeopardizing either the boat, because it's very personal for us, because we, from how we got the boat to what it is now, we put a lot of like blood, sweat, tears into it.
Yeah.
But it's also as our boss, who we're very protective of, it's his baby.
Exactly.
Like and it's our baby as well. So as soon as it starts kind of affecting their safety or the safety of the boat, like if they're breaking glasses and that's getting disrespectful, actually.
Yeah.
Then we would step in, and then that's when you step in with the captain card.
Yeah, exactly. And also the guests leave a security deposit, so any damage that is done, it gets taken off their deposit. Jason Rice has said, do you find Below Deck funny? Now, that's quite a good question. What I understand about Below Deck is they want to engage as many viewers as possible. They want to engage an audience. So they're going to create situations which are going to be very dramatic and in most cases very unreal, in a way that it doesn't really happen on board. And in some cases it's a bit funny, but I get it. I understand from a production point of view, they want to attract the viewers. And what do you think about it?
I haven't watched. I mean, I watched what you did.
The video that I did, yeah.
The reviews. Yeah, it's definitely dramatized. Well, who knows actually? Because I've heard some dramatic stories on boats as well. So maybe it's just dramatic for us because of our experience of it. But maybe it's not that dramatic for other people. Obviously, like the dramatized, like the music and things like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I could watch it. Like I could get into it. I think.
Yeah. I think it'd be easy watching. Yeah, have a bit of a laugh. But you know what? From what I understand, the actual it's been going on now for a number of seasons, so it's obviously very successful. It gets a lot of high viewing figures. So good luck to them. If it works for them and they're getting their viewers, that's what it is about the end. That's what it's about at the end of the day. This is Gillian Roger. Hi there, Gillian from Scotland. Hey, Gillian from Scotland. New to your channel, but love your content. That's very kind. Thank you very much. Ross Cornell. Is that Cornell? Cornell. Hi from Australia. Hey, Ross. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
Remember, guys, if you want a guaranteed answer to your question, check out the super chat.
Something about the worst request we had. What's the worst request you've had? Garrett Carnes.
Garrett Carnes, what's the worst request you have had? Junaita, you can answer that one. And while you answer that question, I'm going to pop to the loo.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine, don't worry. They won't bite. Be nice, guys. You can sit on this chair, actually, if you want. So, you know what to answer.
Oh.
You got it, Junaita.
So the worst request, I think it's kind of a bit of a combination for the chef and myself, and it's probably dietary requirements. I've had people asking for an egg but half the egg yolk, and just strange diets that you can't really keep up with. That one day onions are in, one day they're out. I think that's the worst in terms of how quickly you get frustrated, because it's a little bit unreasonable. Obviously, if you're intolerant to gluten or something like that, that's totally acceptable. But it does make it very difficult for the chef and for myself. And I actually get nervous having to tell the chef, oh, they forgot to tell you they're vegetarian. So I kind of pop my head in the door, tell them, and run out and let him cool down a little. So no, that's
Okay. What's there, should I?
Yeah.
Squeeze a bit. It's a bit squeezy in here, guys.
Yeah. Our cabin office.
How was that? Your first live stream on your own? I've just put you in it, didn't I?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Let's do that quickly. Okay, guys, remember, if you want a guaranteed answer to your questions, please check out the super chat and check out the wonderful, beautiful Super Yacht Caps and merchandise and show your support. It'd be much appreciated. All the funds go back into the channel, apart from who donated, apart from Bima Giza, who donated $25 for our wedding. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much
like in
indeed.
South Africa, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. South Africa. James has said, good work, Jiv.
Thanks, James.
Cheers, James.
Thanks.
AWOL is for sale. Yes, it is. If you had some cash, would you buy it? Would I buy AWOL if I had some cash? The truth is, for me, you know, if I was in a position to you know, buy those kind of yachts, I would rather have something smaller than like an Axopar and charter bigger boats, because the reason I would do that is because if I fancy a charter, like you were saying, in Indonesia, I can fly to Indonesia. I haven't got to wait for the boat to get there. I could get a boat there. If I want to charter in the Caribbean, I'll go to the Caribbean. If I want to charter in the Med, I'll be in the Med. So that's what I would do if I had that kind of money.
Don't tell the boss, though.
Don't tell the boss, though, yeah.
Okay,
so Hawkit, thank you very much for your super chat. Much appreciated. He has said, what is what you love about her the most, and vice versa? What do I love about the Jivinator the most?
Maybe he's talking about AWOL. What do you love about her the most?
Okay, let's answer both questions.
Okay.
Jiv, what I love about Jiv is she believes she's very, very funny. You are very funny. She is so considerate and loving and caring, and she has a very nice bum. That's the truth of it.
That's the part I'm sure that you.
And
like.
the thing, I won't say what I most dislike about it, because it's not something I dislike. It's something that I like less.
Yeah, wait till I go. I'll watch the replay.
So what's the thing that you most like about me?
I think you're a very good leader, actually, like work-wise, but even like in our relationship, like you always got a calm, collected, you're very rational, like you balanced, you've got your head on straight, and I love that. We have a lot of fun together. We do tease each other a lot,
all the
like
time.
Constantly. It doesn't really stop, actually.
Yeah.
Like this is the most civilized we've been all day.
No, it's the most civilized we've been since isolation.
Yeah.
Guys, we are constantly winding each other up and teasing each other, and so it's
like
nice.
It hasn't
we're very
got
lucky.
as far as those crazy pranks that people do, and I hope it doesn't get that far. But good, innocent teasing and joking is, that's a big part of our relationship, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, darling. David Dillon. Okay, first, congrats on the wedding. Thank you, David. Second, can you describe duties real quick of your staff? Jiv, duties of the staff. Okay, let's start with the chief stew. What are your duties?
So for me, I think probably to kind of summarize it, I would see myself as kind of the mother of the boat in a way, in that in terms of like I do uniform, I do the toiletries, taking care of the guests. I mean, that would be, there's kind of different roles you have throughout the year, taking care of the guests, just sort of being that, basically a hostess, really. If you think of a hotel with a hostess who, if you need anything, I'm kind of there and happy to do that.
Yeah.
The chef and I work very closely. He obviously prepares the food for the crew and the guests as well. I'd say he has the most stressful in terms of like consistency, having to cook for so many people constantly. We have like stressful moments, but I think, so he obviously doing the food.
And the provisioning as well, the planning, the menus,
Yeah.
and then you, and the behind the scenes, like today, you've been working on crew uniform.
Yeah.
You're in charge of making sure the toiletries.
Yeah. And a really important part, my second stew is amazing.
Yeah. So what's the duty of the second stew? Yeah.
So the second stew, well, for me, it's my biggest support, and having somebody who's good at their job and good at that position helps me to focus on other things. So between her and I, we would rotate also a lot of the cleaning. We do the cleaning between us, ironing, laundry, cleaning, potentially helping the chef in certain ways. Her and I like to see us as kind of the same thing. I might have a better relationship with the owner and with you and like the guests and things like that from experience of it. But she would definitely, when she takes over, she will handle it. I mean, she's ready to handle it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then so we have the chief engineer on board, Slaven. His job is, I think it's pretty clear in the title, is to ensure that all the engineering things, main engines, generators, pumps, tanks, air conditioning units, boilers, water circulation, seawater circulation is all serviced. It's all being kept to a very high standard. It's all clean, and it's all being part of the planned maintenance. That's the engineer's job. Then we have Jason, who is the chief officer. His job mostly is to manage the deck side of things, so the exterior. He also does get involved. He does the accounts and the ISM, helps with the ISM, which is International Safety Management. Then we have the deckhands. I think the job is pretty clear. Their duty is to ensure that the boat on the exterior is always clean and it's polished and it's well maintained. Also, in the water sports, we have guests on board. They'll be getting all the water sports toys ready. Then we have the chase boat captain. Again, his job is to manage and maintain the chase boat, but he also helps on board the mothership, works with the deckhand. And then finally, me, the captain, I just sit back and bark orders. Easy as that. No, with the captain, I'm dealing mostly with emails with a lot of the charter brokers, doing the itineraries for all the guests, doing the weather forecasting, passage planning, the ISM, the International Safety Management, and also I'm pretty much making sure everybody, the crew, are happy, dealing with maybe crew issues, things like that. And so that's the job titles of everybody and their duties. So
I think, sorry if I can interrupt, with the engineer, it's quite a tricky one as well, because he's the engineer, like he's got to take care of his department, but there's always things breaking, like little things and stuff breaking around the whole boat. So he's also responsible for everybody's department. Like for me, if the guest door handle is broken, for me that's high priority, get it fixed. For him, he's like, does the boat float? So that's kind of a tricky one for him as well, because that can be But I think you said if the engineer does a good job over the winter, then the summers are generally just
easier.
Small, maintenance.
So really, with boat management, it's all about preventative maintenance. So preventive maintenance basically means seeing what can go wrong and fixing it before it does, and that's what a good engineer tends to do. So that's why the winter months, if a good engineer has everything set up and ready and always like working 100%, everything serviced, no issues, then his summer's going to be a lot more enjoyable. If he doesn't maintain his area, then he's going to be stressing out and having a real tough summer.
I might get you another coffee, and I might leave
have a tea. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I think we lost connection for a second there, but I think we are back up and running. Thank you, my love.
Your drink, sir.
You're back. Sorry about that. Again, so David, yes, thank you for your question. Much appreciated, and thank you for your donation as well. JB Barker, have you had any experience with yachts with water jet propulsion, benefits with standard props and propulsion? I haven't, JB. Really, I've had lots of experience with pod drives. I do like pod drives and conventional shaft drives. Years ago, when I was working at Marina Marbella, I did stern drives, outboards, did jet drives, but much smaller boats, like 25-foot boats, and obviously the jet skis. Done arnesons. So yeah, not too much with experience with jet drives. I can't really comment on that. Dirt Gambit, who does passage planning? It really depends on the day and who's doing what, but the passage planning will be done either by myself or the chief officer. We use Ectis on board, and then we will share, the duties. So we will be shared. We'll be checking, the weather forecast. We'll be making sure part of the passage, well, it's voyage planning we call it, is making sure we have the correct berth bookings. If we are going to a long distance, make sure we've got enough bunkers, enough fuel, enough water. So it's a combination, it's a whole team thing. But in general, the actual physical passage planning with the ECTIS, so that's the electronic charts, I would say I do it most of the time. But this year, now Jason's moved up to chief officer, I'm going to get him to do a lot more and give him to, dock and take the boat off the dock as much as I can this summer. Cool, guys. So any more questions, do let us know. Be sure to, if you want a guaranteed answer, check out the super chat. David Poole said, "Hi, you two. This is going back now. My daughter works on a super boat. I'm guessing you mean a super yacht. She told me that it took 10 tankers to fill up with fuel. Would that be correct?" Yeah, that's possible. If she's working on one of the bigger mega yachts or giga yachts, then David, yeah, if you tell me the name of the yacht, I can tell you whether it's true or not. Christian Lawrence says, "Hi guys, stay safe, heart, heart, heart. Thank you very much. What are you guys going to do when AWOL is sold? Go on a nice long holiday?" No, AWOL gets sold. The owner will buy probably a new boat. So my job would then be to investigate, to find the right boat, to do, if we find a boat, we got to do some surveying, some homework, and make sure we find the right boat for the owner. Sorry, guys, for some reason it says here on the chat that I'm unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. So I'm going to see if I can get it on my phone. So bear with me a second to connect chat. Just bear with me, guys, because let me see if James can help me out here. I think we're back now, actually. I got the super chats, but not the regular chat. So how do I get that back up and running? Right, so we've got another super chat here from Harold again. Thanks, Harold. Why not rib as a chase boat? There's no reason why you can't have the rib as a chase boat. We felt that for us, what worked well was the Axopar, and we were very happy with the decision. But we could have easily bought a rib. There are some great rib chase boats out there. So there's pros and cons to both, really. Not so. Got another super chat here from MT Mtronoke, Mtroanoke. Thank you very much. Not asking about your owner or for you to violate any NDA, but do any of your guests bring compensated company aboard? I know what you mean by this, and no, we don't. We advertise as a family boat. We don't have, we tend not to have compensated company on board. There are yachts out there that are family, that are party boats, but we're a family boat, and it's not. We don't advertise for that. If somebody wants to bring them on board, they need to let us know beforehand that's their intention, because the likelihood is they're not going to be welcome on board. We don't need it really. So sorry guys, my unable to connect to chat. It's still not connecting, so I'm not sure what's happened there. Let's see here if I can get this up and running again. Pop out chat, toggle time, participants. Yeah, it's not working. So James, you got to send me messages, please, for the questions. Hello, Captain. This is from Erwan. From what sizes yachts are hiring third and second officers? You're probably looking around 70, 80 meter plus, maybe 60 meter for second officer, but third probably 80 meter plus. Adam Gori has asked, do you genuinely follow APIM for voyage planning, or is it shortened from the amount of legs in the voyage? It's a good question, Adam. So what APIM is, guys, APIM is a term which stands for Appraisal, Planning, Execution and Monitoring, which is part of the passage plan. So what we have to do, Adam, is because we are ISM compliant, or meaning it's ISM, any voyage plan that we do, we have to send it to our management company first before we leave port. That includes weather forecasting, that includes the passage plan, and to make sure we've ticked all the boxes, that includes pre-departure checks, and then arrival checks. It all gets sent to management. So the answer to your question is yes, we do. Nick from Aquaholics has joined us again. Nick, welcome back. Guys, if you don't follow Nick on Aquaholics, be sure to go and check him out. He does some great walkthroughs of amazing boats. He creates a really good, really simple but effective content. So congratulations, Nick, on your channel. And Nick recently did a video. He received his 100,000 subscriber silver play button from YouTube. So congrats, Nick. I'm hoping to get that sometime this year, fingers crossed. So guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, because I really want to get that play button and place it behind me here. Maybe on the wall here would be pretty good. Let's hear some more questions here. So, Average Joe, what's your favorite cheese? It's got to be English cheddar cheese, man. English cheddar. Or some Parmesan. Ooh, cheddar. Probably cheddar. But like that real strong, mature English cheddar. Love that. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Aquaholic has asked, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? It's gonna. Oh, Nick, it's easy. It's 18 miles per hour. Everyone knows that. Don't go and Google it now. David Dillon, another super chat, guys. If you want to get your questions guaranteed answered, be sure to ask in the super chat. David has asked, regarding staffing, is the French lady going to be back when you get back to sea? And also, did your owner decide on a shadow boat? Great question, David. So you're speaking about Barbara. So you probably won't hear the last live chat. Barbara's now moved on onto other things. She's now acquired her Master 500 ticket, which is great. So we wish her congratulations. And Jason, we're very happy. Jason, who was a deckhand last year, he won the deckhand award last year, the crew awards. We moved him up to the chief officer position. And did we decide on the shadow boat? So the owner has decided AWOL is for sale and wants to go for a bigger boat and not keep AWOL and get a shadow boat. I would love the shadow boat, but also a bigger boat. It's the owner's choice at the end of the day. We give him the pros and the cons of each. But thank you, David, again for your super chat. Much appreciated. I think why my chat here is not working. I think So I got James is messaging me the question because I don't get them otherwise. John Boy has asked, nicest yacht manufacturer in your opinion? Ooh, it's so hard to say. If it was a boat, like not a super yacht, it obviously, like I said, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Axopar. But I mentioned previously, I do like silent yachts. I do like the idea of it. And if you guys don't know, I've been in touch with Silent Yachts, and we're working on with them the possibility of next winter to go on board one of their boats for a week and to vlog the experience of what it's like to be on a silent yacht. If you don't know, a silent yacht is a fully electric catamaran which runs on solar power, solar panels, and big lithium batteries. So that's the one I'll be most interested in. Yeah, I mean, I do like Fed ships. I do like AMOLs. I do like Lursen. So probably one of those. But I'm intrigued for silent yachts. Michael Romeo has said, I'm looking to get a 50-ton captain's license. Where should I start first? Well, you need to go to school, go to a college, and get your license. Stuart Moore, hey Stuart. Trist, by the way, congratulations on your upgrade master's exam. I forgot to congratulate you the other day. Thank you, Stuart, much appreciated. For those who don't know, recently I passed the Master 3000 oral exam. It's an MCA ticket. Basically, what that means is I can now captain vessels up to 3,000 gross tons. So to put that in perspective, AWOL's volume is 308 gross tons. So I can now captain vessels which are up to 10 times the volume of AWOL. But at the moment, I'm staying with AWOL because I'm very happy on board. Do you let charter guest kids drive or steer AWOL when on board? Good question. So what we do, we're obviously not close to coast or in port, we're out at sea, I will put the autopilot on, and then I'll let the kids, drive the boat. There's no danger because they steer, it will stay on the autopilot. And they enjoy it. We've got like one of those, those captain hats just for the guests. For the kids put those on, they get some photos. And everybody loves sitting on the Ferrari chair. If you don't know, the first owner of Motor Yacht AWOL was Mr. Piero Ferrari, who is Enzo Ferrari's son. And he built the boat, and he inserted the Ferrari captain's chair on the bridge. So everybody wants to sit on that chair and take photos with it. And I'm very fortunate to sit in it almost every day. So that boat AWOL does have a lot of history with Ferrari. Hull material best for yachts under 50 meters. So again, it depends what you're looking for, because it depends on the budget of the boat. If you're looking at top quality, you're going to want to go with steel with aluminium superstructure. But that's a lot more expensive than the GRP boat. So it really depends on your budget. If it budget's no question, I would go steel with aluminium superstructure. But then the smaller boats are all GRP because it's easier to make. It's a lot quicker. They get the molds for the fiberglass and the gel coat. But good question though. Tea's going cold. So remember, guys, if you want a guaranteed answer from your question, do ask a question in the super chat. Much appreciated. Question is, would you do time on the water first or school first? So first, you'll have to get your STCW Basic Safety Training Qualification. That's a 5-day course. Your ENG1, which is a medical certificate. And if you can, get your Powerboat Level 2 or your Day Skippers, which are RYA courses, which are the Royal Yachting Association. From there, find work on board a boat, build up your miles and your experience, and then go and get your Yacht Master offshore. In some cases, people do a 0 to hero course, which is I think around 8 weeks. It might be 12, I don't remember, where you can do a 0 to hero from 0 to Yacht Master level in that period of time. But from what I understand, it's a lot more expensive. Ben Breakwell, thank you very much for your super chat. Let us know your question there, Ben. So just so you guys know, the chat of mine isn't working. So James, who works with me on the channel, he's sending me to me on WhatsApp. It just says, unable to connect to chat, please try later. So I'm not sure why it's done that. Let's see if I can participant pop out chat. What does that do? No, it's all good. Restore chat. Here we go. Still not working. Here we go. Amanda Ashton. Amanda is back. Hey, Amanda. Hope you're doing well. Now, Amanda's been a follower of the channel from a very long time. She's been a huge follower. I really appreciate Amanda. And Amanda has a boat. And in the Min, I think it's still in Spain, right, Amanda? And she's sent a super chat saying, if I win the raffle, can I have a go at the helm with the autopilot off? Oh, Amanda, I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Well, I'm sure we can make something happen. Maybe when the boat's in port and tied to the dock, he can go on the helm. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no problem at all, Amanda. What does it take to be a good charter guest? Just treat everybody equally. Just because you have a bit of money doesn't make you any different from anybody else. You know, that's what takes a good charter guest. Really, we want you guys to have a fantastic time. We want you to have an amazing experience on board, and by the end of it, honestly, when our guests leave, we want them to say that was an experience of a lifetime, and that's what we want. And just be kind. Just be human. Really, don't be a pain. Okay, so Dell's asked quite a good question. Dell Casey has asked, if you are on the world tour, how many weeks a year do the crew get off? And is it down to the owner to fly the crew to wherever they wish to take the holiday? Okay, so the way it works in most boats, like the bigger boats, is you have a thing called rotation when you're doing a boat dual season. What is rotation? So you have crew members that do 2 months on and 2 months off. And these tend to be the senior crew. So each boat will have like 2 chief engineers, 2 captains, 2 chief stews, and they'll rotate 2 months on, 2 months off. Now, with the other crew, depending on flag state, the crew that aren't on rotation, they'll get a set numbers of days that they are allowed to have off. This could be around normally 6 to 7 weeks. Within their contract under MLC, which is the Maritime Labour Convention, there has to be an agreed place of repatriation. So this will be covered under the expense of the boat. But the boat gets to book the ticket. So don't for a second think you can get first class tickets. You're going to get economy class back to the agreed point of repatriation. John B, do you always use 2 anchors when mid-mooring? It seems the chains will get tangled often when everyone has 2 anchors out. When doing a mid-mooring, even with single chains, they get tangled. So you may have seen a video that we did in Saint-Tropez where we dropped the anchor. We had to call the diver to lift the anchor up, because what happens is, if you're one of the first boats to come in and you're docking, like Saint-Tropez is like a C shape, right? Is that boats are going to go over each other's chains. So the diver's job is to unhook the chains. Now, with the dual anchoring, it really depends on the weather forecast. So if we are there just for one night, I can check the forecast. And the forecast is good, we'll just keep 1 anchor out. If we're going to be there for 2, 3, 4, 5 nights, then we'll put both anchors out as far spread apart as possible. Another super chat from David Dillon. Thank you, David. You're showing a lot of support this evening. Do you ever bring out the dress uniform and do an official dinner with the captain? David, no, we don't do that. What we do at the end of the charter, so during the charter guest, with the guest permission, we take drone footage, we've got GoPros and cameras, and we record their whole vacation. And then at the end of the week, we edit the video together, we put it on the big screen in the bridge salon, we show it to the guests, we set up a nice like cocktails and champagne and canapes, and we ask the guests if they want us to join. Most of the time they say yes. So if we're in port, we allow the crew to have one glass of champagne and to enjoy the evening, kind of with the guests for maybe like half an hour, answer any questions, and just have a bit of a social event, which is actually quite nice. So thanks for your question, David. Remember, guys, if you want guaranteed answers to your questions, be sure to check out the super chat. Much appreciated. And be sure to check out the wonderful merchandise that we have for the Super Yacht Captain. We got Crew Stories merchandise. And remember, soon we have Jared Watney on Crew Stories. Last Sunday we had David Seal, who is from Yachts for Sale. His story from a window cleaner to becoming the most well-known super yacht broker in the world. So go and check that out. Patrick Pop Rocky, on which boat have you started your career as captain? So Patrick, I worked my first 5 years in yachting. I worked for a company called Marina Marbella, and my first captain's gig was on a Dominator 78. Unfortunately, if you don't know the story, that boat caught fire and burnt down to the waterline. And then after that, we had a Lazara 75 LSX, and I was captain on that from 2008 to 2016, 8 years. We got here now. This is from Keith Bucknell. Hi Tristan, how many times a year do owners use it versus chartering it out? Excellent channel, by the way. Very good question, Keith. It really depends on what the owner wants to do that particular year. It does vary because some seasons the owner's very busy, can't use a boat and wants to charter. Other seasons, he wants to use the boat. So it really varies. We've had times where he's used the boat maybe 2-3 weeks of the season, and we've had times where he's used the boat 2-3 months of the season. So it really does depend on the owner's schedule and how busy he is with work. Christopher Olsen, hey Christopher, keep up the good work. Is that Christopher from? I wonder if that's Christopher from Axopar. Is it? Christopher, is that Christopher from Axopar? I'm wondering because you got the same name. Let us know. But if it is, good to see you, Chris. Thanks for coming on the super chat. We got Ben Silverman. Ben, welcome. I've seen you commented a few comments from you, Ben. Thank you for that. Hi, Tristan. I'm new to the channel and already watched most of the channel. Would you use the tender boat before you use the life rafts? Very good question, Ben. So part of our emergency procedure of abandoning ship is we go straight onto the chase boat. Why do we do that and not go into life rafts? Very simple. One, it's got 2 engines. 2, it's got 2 cabins, so you can say warm and dry. 3, it's got comms. It's got VHF radios. It's got handheld VHF radios. It's got a nav plotter. It's got a radar. It's got fresh water. So very good question. In an emergency, if we have to abandon ship AWOL, we go onto the chase boat. If we can't get in the chase boat, we then go into the life rafts. So it's really strange. I can only see the super chat questions, but I can't see the normal chat questions. So James is sending me messages here. So it is Christopher Olsen from Axopar. Hey Christopher, guys, as you know, our chase boat is an Axopar, and Christopher works at Axopar. Very cool guy. Christopher was the guy in the video, the Brabus video we did in, I think it came out in September, when we sea trialed the Brabus Shadow. I can never remember the name, Christoph, as you can remember, Brabus Shadow 500 Black Ops. He was the blonde chap that was driving the boat. He's on here now. Really cool company. Very recommend Axopar, because we've got one and we've used it, and all our guests love it. The owner loves it. The chase boat captain loves it, and I'm a huge fan. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, if I was in a position to buy a boat, without a doubt, it would be an Axopar. Gib is back. Hey, Gib. Hey, Captain. What is your honest, no BS opinion on the wider 150? Also, you can talk David Seal into doing a walkthrough of the wider 165. I'm sure David will do a walkthrough one day. Gib, the only thing I can do, when I give an opinion on a boat, I need to get on board it. I need to spend time on it. I need to navigate with it. I need to speak to the engineers. Just looking at a boat, I can't give an opinion, because it's everybody has their own taste. So if you're looking at aesthetics, quality of build, engineering, I honestly can't give you an answer because I just simply don't know. But I'm sure David Seal will want to do a walkthrough. But at the moment, because of the coronavirus, he's stuck inside and doing videos from his office. Lulu Mons. Lulu, welcome. Lulu said, great channel. Have you ever owned a boat? If so, what was it? If not, what sort of boat would you buy for yourself if you could? Lulu, you've just missed it. I've never, the boat that we had when I was growing up, we had a Sea Ray 185 from it was 1996 Sea Ray 185. Love Sea Ray, great boat. And again, if I was to buy another boat like that, the truth is it would probably be an Axopar. I really like the Axopar 28 cabin, and they have what they call the kind of like adventure version, where they have these awesome racks where you can put your paddle boards, you can put your kayaks, you put your mountain bike, a proper adventure boat. And it's got a little cabin as well with a little fridge, and there's a specialist company that also install air conditioning if you want. So my boat would probably, of that size, would be an Axopar. Christoph, if you're still watching this, you should give me an Axopar. I'll give you some free publicity here, guys. Come on, send it over. All kidding. Or a big discount. How's that sound? We got another super chat from Bert Fritschott. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm terribly sorry. Will you be doing a power down and power up video? The systems are complex and I would love to watch a video on sequence. Thank you. Bert, that's a very good idea. We will definitely do that. Where we put the boat in the water, we'll do a power up video for you, 100%. I'll do it with Slav and the engineer. Thank you again for the super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys. David Morris, love your channel. Would love to see more about the navigation. Former captain on a 1936 40-foot ditch burn. Twice did the trip from Toronto to Florida. Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, when we're back in the water, I can do some more navigation videos. No problem at all. As you may know, in the video, we recently installed a brand new gyro compass. If you haven't seen that video, check out that video after the live stream. It was a bit expensive, but gyro compasses are known to be very expensive. I've got another super chat from Ben Breakwell. Hey Ben, thank you very much. Hi Tristan, what would you say is the best thing about being the captain and working on a super yacht? But also, what is the biggest drawback? Mate, the best thing about being a captain on a super yacht is that you're a captain on a super yacht. How cool is that? The truth is, outside the yachting bubble, when I tell people what I do for a living, They don't actually believe me. That's the truth of it. The truth is we get to go to, honestly, some of the coolest places I've ever been to. Without this job, I would never have done it. I've had the privilege of being on a super yacht at the Monaco Grand Prix. That was the highlight. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a massive Formula One fan. And that was such a highlight to go to the Grand Prix for the first time years ago. That was probably one of the highlights of, being the captain. And then the downside, I would say, is during the season we get obviously no time off, and over the years I've missed a lot. Don't get me wrong, I know there's people in the military and people who have much more difficult jobs than I do, but you're asking the question. So the hardest thing is missing. I've missed over the years. I've missed weddings, family events, family gathering, birthdays, and you do sacrifice your entire summer to work on the yachts. And I've been doing it now. This will be my 18th year doing it continuously. So yeah, that's the biggest plus and the biggest negative. Christopher also says, get your adventure video. Oh, so Christopher said, get the adventure video tank. So guys, go and check out the video I did with Axopar, right? It's got like six. So Christopher, remind me, how many likes does it have now? It's got like 6,500 likes. They agreed if it gets 10,000 likes, they'll loan me one of their boats for a weekend. But Christopher, I'm not asking you to loan me a boat. I'm asking you to give me a 90% discount on buying one. So, but yeah, guys, please check out the Axopar videos. They're really good. Give them a thumbs up. Give them a like. And yeah, if you're on the market for an Axopar, if you say that you were sent by Tristan, the super yacht captain, they will give you a 5% increase in price. No, I'm just kidding. Why do you choose Axopar as a chase boat? It's a good question, actually. So, to be honest with you, the first time I saw an Axopar, it was probably about 4 years ago at the Cannes Boat Show. And at the time, I was captain on Motor Yacht Lizzie, the 75 LSX Lazara. And we had a Capelli Tempest rib 770, so 7-meter rib. And my chase boat driver at the time, it was Harry, who now runs a Winter of Luxury. We decided to go to the Cannes Boat Show. We were just walking through, and at this time, I've never heard of Axopar. I had no idea who they were. And as we were walking through the boat show, and I see this boat, and immediately it caught my eye. I'm like, Harry, look at that boat. So I go over, and I started looking at it, and it had the stepped hull. I asked, can I get on board? Had a look around. I said, Harry, this boat is going to be something special. And the truth is, I sent a photo of the boat out of interest to the boss. And the truth is, he didn't actually like the look of it to begin with. He was like, I'm not too sure on the shape. Because at the time when it first came out, it was quite an unusual shape. And I remember saying to Harry, I said, these guys are going to do very well. They've got something quite special here. And I remember when I first met a guy called Jan Eric, who is one of the co-founders of Axopar. I did a video with Jan Eric. I released it a couple of days ago. So if you haven't seen it, don't go and watch it. Anyway, so I followed after that. I kind of followed Axopar, and we, when we got AWOL, we still have Lizzie. When we got AWOL, we had the tender that came with AWOL the first season, which was this 5-meter rib. It was fine. It did the job, but the boss had become used to having chase boats, and he said we got to get a chase boat. And I said, let's just go and test this 28 Axopar, right? And he goes, you know what? I'm not too sure, this, that, and the other. And when I saw Axopar the first time, they let me to go out on a sea trial on it, and it was unreal. So I said to the boss, just go and test it. You don't have to buy it. Just do me a favor, go and test it. So we phoned up the dealer, and he said, I don't have a 28 available for sea trials, but I've got a second-hand 37 ST for sea trials. So we were like, okay, no problem. Let's go and test it. So we were anchored in the south of France, and they came to us with the tender, and it was a 37 with the twin 350s on the back, Mercuries, the Verados. And we got on board and immediately went off and then started driving it and was doing these awesome turns, and the boat was just solid. There's a bit of a swell and it just cut through the water. And the sea trial finished, we came back to Motor Yacht to AWOL, and the boss says, he looks at me and he goes, the S word, I can't swear on here. And I said, what's the problem? He goes, we can't get the 28. I said, what do you mean? He goes, now that we've tested the 37, I can't step down to the 28. So anyway, I think that day or that week we negotiated the price. We had a survey on it. We just surveyed the hull to make sure there's no cracking, no water, no any issues with osmosis. We had the engines checked and all the systems checked, and everything was fine. And then we bought the boats. And the reason is because when I sea trial, it was on a different level. When we sea trial, the ribs are good, but nothing handled like the Axopar. Unless you've been on one, it's very difficult to explain. But when you do, you understand why we chose Axopar. John Morgan, hey John, thank you very much for the super chat. Let us know your question on the super chat. John Morgan has asked, John had posted the question previously, but I'm wondering what rank insignia you and the crew wear. I've developed my own in case I win the lotto. What brand? Rank insignia? What is that? There's 1 second. Sorry, John, I'll get back to you on that question in 2 secs. So if you're talking about the epaulets, so the captain will wear 4 stripes epaulets with the with the anchor. The engineer will also wear 4 stripes with the propeller. Chief also wears 3 stripes, and then our chase boat captain wears 2. Deckhand wears 1. So you, as a charter client, you can be the admiral, so you can wear just 1 big gold plate, 2 big gold plates on your shoulder, no problem at all. So cheers, John, much appreciate that. Okay, so some more questions coming in. Yeah, so things on the shoulders are called the epaulets. So cheers, John. So yeah, you can wear as many as you want as if you're going to come as a guest. Or maybe you want to buy your ticket to win the competition, a week's vacation, all-inclusive onboard Motor Yacht AWOL. Peter Shermer is here. Hey, Peter. So Peter's one of our patrons at the moment. So Peter, hope you're doing well. I'm not sure. James, let me know if Pete has any questions. I can't see the chat. So guys, if you don't know, we have the Patreon account. So if you go to patreon.com/Super Yacht Captain and show your support, we're helping people looking to get into the yachting industry, so crew. We're helping potential yacht buyers, and we've got lots of different tiers. So go and check out our Patreon account. And if you haven't done already, we've got Instagram and Facebook. Our Instagram account is Super Yacht Captain 1. Facebook is just Super Yacht Captain page, and we post different content on those social media accounts. But do check out Patreon, and please show your support by choosing one of the tiers. It'd be really much appreciated. Harold has asked, which brand of instruments do you use on the bridge? So I would say the brand Well, because we got, so our ECDIS is going to be, the software is Transas. All the equipment, all the bridge equipment that we use is all wheel marked, so it's all SOLAS approved. The majority, like all the equipment is actually different. So trying to think now, our we got Inmarsat C, our GPS receivers are also wheel marked. They've got 1 and 2. We've got the 2 X-band radars. We've got the weather stations. We've got Sailor. We've got the Sailor VHF. We've got Sailor Sat Cs. So mostly Sailor, and we got Transas, and the handheld VHS, the emergency ones are ICOM. Just wait, bear with me 1 second, guys. Sorry, chaps, 1 second, please. Yeah, sorry about that. Here we go. I can't get this chat working. I don't know why. Does the Axbow boat have a wet ride? It is actually quite wet, I have to say. Yeah, it is. It is quite wet. But the benefit is it causes, they say from a hull design point of view, that there's less drag, so the vessel's more efficient. But the downside is it's a lot wet. Okay, so question here: is there a medical a captain has to take each year, and is there an eye test like a aeroplane? So yeah, so every 2 years actually, so every 24 months, all crew, including the captain, must do what's called an ENG1. And basically that is just a medical test and an eye test by an ENG, so an MCA approved doctor. And that keeps all your certificates, within date. Can the driver drive his own yacht? So you remember, driving a yacht to captaining a yacht are two different things. The captain is always in charge of the vessel. In our case, if the owner wants to drive the yacht, I'm still the captain. I will stand next to him, but he's never wanted to drive the yacht himself. Legally, no, he can't be the captain because he'll need to have a qualification, and then the existing captain will have to relieve himself of the position in the official logbook. So it's just a big hassle. And in general, owners would rather be relaxing with their family. Occasionally, you get boat owners who want to dock. In our case, I don't think my boss has he's never attempted to dock AWOL. Does the Axopar have autopilot? So the Axopar, ours does have autopilot. It works very well, which is good for those long distances. And with a twin engine, a twin 350, it cruises real nicely along the water. So guys, remember to do the super chat if you want your question guaranteed answered. Much appreciated. So very good, guys. I'm going to go for another 10 minutes, and then we're going to call it, I think. So get your questions in now on the super chat. Right, if someone buys AWOL, what would you do if they wanted you to stay? If someone buys AWOL, what would you do if they wanted you to stay? Well, they'll need to give me a very good reason to stay because, as you know, I've been with my boss now since 2007, and it's going to take a hell of a lot to take me away from him. Because remember, it's not about the money and stuff; it's about the people. and I've got a huge amount of respect for the boss. I've got all the time in the world for him, and he's helped me out so much over the years. He's been so loyal, and you can't buy that. That's the truth of it. What has been your biggest scare on board AWOL? Biggest scare on board AWOL. I would say we had we had a failure somewhere. I don't remember what it was. We had an ingress of water. I think it was through, if I remember correctly, it was through the bow thruster compartment where we had a lot of water coming in. Luckily, all the bilge pumps were working. But all these things happened in the middle of the ocean, middle of the night, and we were going through relatively rough weather. And then something happened. We had a quite heavy wave, and then we had water. We had the bilge alarms going off in the middle of the night, and I wouldn't say it was scary. It's one of those things you deal with it. We got bilge pumps. The engineer managed to fix it, but these things always happen at the worst time. Luckily, we haven't had too many scares on AWOL. Gib, is AWOL rated for ice or just fair weather? So Gib, no, AWOL is a GRP boat, glass reinforced plastic, otherwise known as fiberglass. So ideally, you won't take one of those boats into the ice. And the truth is, a lot of people ask, can this boat go through a force 10 in the North Sea? Otherwise not a real boat. The truth is, if you're on a super yacht and you're a guest, do you really want to be in a force 10? In the northern territories, probably in the North Atlantic. No, you don't. You want to be in nice calm weather in a beautiful bay with your family, with the water toys. So the majority of yachts are designed for fair weather for obvious reasons. The commercial ships are designed for bad weather because they need to work and do their jobs in bad weather. But don't get me wrong, there are super yachts that are built out there that are built to the same standards as commercial ships. But in our case, the GRP boats, it's very different. So thanks, Gib. Just remember, guys, any questions, just make sure you do the super chat. Here we go. Chris Cherry. Thank you, Chris. Hi, Tristan. Sorry if it has been asked. If the owner of AWOL buys a larger yacht, will you cross the Atlantic to do winter season? It's not up to me, Chris, actually. It's up to the owner of the boat if he wants to do the Caribbean season. So I would be up for it. And the reality is, if he gets a bigger boat, we'll do a thing called rotation. So if you're doing dual season, you'll rotate the crew. So you normally do 2 months on, 2 months off. Otherwise, you just go mad. You just on board and working the whole time without having any free time with your friends and, more importantly, with your family. So thanks for that, Chris. We'll see what the owner wants to do if AWOL gets sold. Okay, guys, I think we're going to last 5 minutes now, guys. Final questions. Ben Silverman is back. Hey, Ben, thank you very much again. Are you master of both AWOL and the chase boat? Your reference as a chase boat captain, does he work under you as master? So no, so legally, the chase boat captain is the captain of the chase boat. But under his employment contract, I am the manager of the chase boat, if that makes sense. So, so basically, it's not a question of, barking orders, it's a question of working as a team. We work together, but the chase boat captain essentially answers to me, the captain of AWOL. Good question though, Ben. Lulu's back. Hey Lulu, what would you see as the main challenges to consider when moving to a captain on a larger vessel than AWOL? Lulu, the truth is, the hardest thing, the most challenging thing is the people. It's getting the right team on board. And by that, I mean the crew and the right management company and the right shore support. That is the most challenging part of the job, is ensuring you got people that you can rely on, people you can trust, and people that have the right qualifications. You know, every vessel is different in quality of build, in the design, but with time you learn the vessel, and when you learn the vessel, you know, it is what it is. You learn to work with it. With crew, you've always got very different personalities. You know, people have, you know, they have their good days and their bad days, and you're always trying to juggle that, you know. So thanks for your question, Lulu. Mark Trudell. Hey, Mark. Where extra crew sleep if needed? We don't have extra crew on board. We're legally not allowed to. We have maximum of 8. We have 8 berths. As a commercial vessel, you're not allowed to have more. We're not allowed to have more on board. So we don't have extra crew. If we do need to swap out crew, we'll send crew to shore to sleep on board if we're staying in a local area. But we've never had this situation. Okay, what do we have here? Michael Romeo has asked, how do you like the Pershing brand of yacht? Again, Michael, I don't have any experience with, well, very little experience with Pershing, but nothing in the last 12 years, so I can't really comment. Again, I only like to comment about other yachts or boats that I have physically been on board and that I have physically sea trialed. I don't like to give my opinion just from, you know, hearsay. Damakirk, is it? Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. What are the pros and cons of maintaining a tender with petrol versus diesel to keep petrol off the yacht completely? So the truth is, before we had a chase boat, we had a tender and it was diesel. So we could use the diesel from our main fuel tanks on board to refuel the tender. Diesel, as you know, is a lot safer than petrol. Because with petrol, you obviously got the gases which are explosive, diesel not so much. So from a maintenance point of view, again, it depends. Are we talking about outboard engines or inboard engines? In our case now with the chase boat, we have outboards. It's relatively easy to maintain with servicing, changing the oil, changing the filters. But from a whole maintenance point of view, it's not that much of a difference. But if you're keeping the tender inside the garage, diesel is definitely safer than petrol, 100%. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. And sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Okay, guys, I think that is it now for the end of the live stream. Thank you all so much for joining me, and especially to those of you that have contributed to the super chat is much more appreciated. It's much appreciated. Remember, guys, do check out the merchandise. Please do check out our Patreon account, patreon.com/Super Yacht Captain, and check out, we've got Instagram Super Yacht Captain 1 and Facebook Super Yacht Captain. So thank you all and wish you all the best. We got one final super chat from Harold. Regarding the accident, could you say no? Sorry, Harold, I don't really understand the question. Regarding the accident, could you say no? I'm going to need help with this question. I want to, James, if you can help me with this question. Guys, please, no more super chats, guys. We're going to end it now. Sorry, Harold, I'm just seeing if James understands the question because I don't really, maybe I've missed something. Harold, if you're still there, can you rephrase your question because we don't understand it? I don't understand what you mean, I'm afraid. So please, guys, no more super chats. Much appreciated. Sorry, guys, we're supposed to be off by now, but one of the super chats hasn't been answered yet, and I don't understand the question. So, Harold, if you are watching still, please rephrase your question because I don't understand it, I'm afraid. Just waiting to see if I get an answer from Harold here. James, if you're watching, just maybe check the other chat as well. Oh, okay, I understand. So could you disagree with the hard master about the spot? So as the master of the vessel, you're ultimately responsible. And yes, you can disagree, but the issue is that in the summer, especially in those areas, if you disagree, there's another 20 boats outside the port waiting for a berth that would take it. So you've got to find the right balance. And unfortunately, the reality is, if the fenders didn't get caught on those ground lines, we would have got in safely. But unfortunately, those fenders got caught, therefore pulling the boat towards the other boat and causing the impact. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you guys again. I wish you a fantastic evening, a fantastic day, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.